When Nicola Owst stumbled upon a neglected dog trapped in a crate in a field, little did she know he would become a rescue project that would turn her life around. It was 27 April 2009 when my friend Sally and I decided to take a trip to view a foal she'd seen for sale on the internet. Sally ran his stables with her husband Rob in Leicestershire, where I'd spent much of my teenage years living and working with horses. It was a bit of a mission to drive down the M1 in the pouring rain. We had to then weave through tiny B roads and muddy lanes to see this foal, but Sally was the type of person who would go above and beyond to give an animal a loving new home. When we arrived at the address, we both had a funny feeling in the pit of our stomachs. It was clear it was not a proper paddock. It was the grimmest, scariest place I'd ever been to. Two shady-looking men came out and showed us the 6-month foal. I was horrified to see it looked half-starved and riddled with worms. There wasn't just one, but two of them. We quickly handed over the cash and coaxed the nervous foals into our trailer. Just as we were about to leave, I spotted an animal wedged into the back of a rusty metal crate. I crept closer to see whether it was even alive. The poor creature, squashed inside a cat carrier, was breathing faintly. His sad eyes were just slits in his bony, bruised face. It looked as if trying to keep them open was causing him intense pain. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. His fur had worn away, showing his paper-thin skin over his bony ribcage and face. His mottled flesh looked like it had been clawed at. He was barely alive. This poor dog had been trapped in his own waste and had obviously had no food or water for days. But what really hit me was the horrendous smell, a combination of rotting flesh and feces. His little paw pads were burnt and red raw from standing in his own urine. It was unbelievably sad. I didn't think twice about rescuing him. I swaddled him in a towel and took him back to our 4x4. His legs buckled from underneath him as I carefully placed him on my knee. On closer inspection, I could see he was covered in mange, a nasty infection caused by mites that burrow under the skin. I had to save this poor creature from these horrible people. "I've got you, buddy," I said to him. The name stuck. We made a sharp exit from that hellhole. I knew exactly who to call on when we got home. Ian, the local vet, who had tended to the horses at the stables for years. He examined him straight away. Sitting on the examining table in the veterinary practice, Buddy resembled a bag of bones. Ian confirmed he was a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, probably not even a year old. I watched over Buddy as Ian checked him out. You'd think he would be frightened of me and the environment, but I think he was relieved. The way he looked at me made me think he was grateful to be saved. The vet diagnosed him with demotic mange. Because he'd been left in his own mess, he got secondary infections and his skin was rotting away. Armed with a bag of antibiotics and care instructions from Ian, I took Buddy home. That first night, I bathed him gently in the kitchen sink. Then I didn't sleep a wink, constantly checking if he was breathing. It felt touch and go at times. We took everything slowly. I introduced small plates of chicken or scrambled egg to him, so as not to upset his stomach, and gave him just enough exercise in between lots of sleep. If I'm honest, the Staffy breed hadn't always appealed to me. I had it in my head they were aggressive dogs, but I couldn't have been more wrong. He is the most loving, kind, and loyal dog I've ever come across. Over the following year, Buddy grew stronger and his infections cleared up. He was my number one in life.